The one and only Karl Schmid. Next. He's the founder of Plus Life, a champion, a fighter of all things HIV, not to mention a veteran in the TV business. I'm proud to know him. Please welcome Karl Schmid.
Oh, Gracie, thank you. A veteran. I suppose I am in a way. Does make me feel old, but I guess I've been doing it since I was 7, so that makes me a veteran. I get to sit in the hot seat.
I know this is full circle. It's like, a year ago, I was interviewing with you. You had me on your show. We were talking everything Black Lives Matter, everything with the state of the world that was happening. And I felt very safe and compelled as I knew what Plus Life was about. And I felt safe to share my truth with you. However, I knew at the time I wasn't publicly ready to share. However, here we are. And now that it's out, I wanted to circle back with you. So welcome back.
Thank you, and I'm glad. You found that moment to share your truth publicly. The host in me wants to ask you, how's that going for you?
It's going quite well. I feel much lighter. I feel at peace and I feel calm. And now I'm just ready to accept whatever the world has for me now. So let me flip it back to you.
Please.
When you opened up your IG, your Instagram, and you began to type the words and began to share your truth, what was going through your mind?
Not much in the sense of, oh, I'm about to have a sort of profound moment.
Okay.
I was a supporter of the AIDS Memorial, which is an Instagram account that honors people that we've lost to HIV and AIDS, and their whole hashtag is "What is remembered lives." And I'd been following this account for quite a while, and it's a really touching, beautiful account in that you can see where people share stories of ones they've lost or friends or lovers, and to add a little extra support, I purchased one of their t-shirts with the money going to help various organizations. And I'd never worn the t-shirt. Like, I'd had it hanging in my closet for about 3 months. And earlier that day, I rushed home from work and I was going to meet some friends for happy hour. And I rushed home from work and I was changing and I thought, oh, I'll just throw that t-shirt on. Like, it's clean and I've not worn it. And I went out and met some friends, and I, over the course of drinks, said to a friend, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you take a photo or two of me in this t-shirt? Because at some point I've got to post something. And Gracie, I didn't have a story of an uncle or a family friend or someone in my direct life that I knew had passed away from HIV/AIDS. And so I thought, well, what can I do? What can I post sort of alongside this t-shirt? And I thought, okay, I'll just sort of tell my story. And I really wasn't thinking about the bigger picture or the impact of what I was doing. First of all, I didn't have that many followers on social media. So I knew people at work would find out, and I knew some friends would see it, but I really didn't think anything beyond that. And so it wasn't sort of this premeditated thing. And I'd had a couple of drinks, I won't lie. So I was feeling a little loose, and I liked the picture. So I just sort of I let my fingers do the talking. I didn't really think about it that much. I just wrote out my story and then went, publish, and that was it.
Well, I'm glad you let your fingers do the talking, and I'm glad you was a little loosey goosey because sometimes we do need that extra push. And for me, honestly, I was affected by it. My father, when I came out and told my father that I was positive, for some reason, my intuition told me that he would share with me that he was too, and he did. And my best friend also passed away from HIV. So it really did affect me, close to home. What personal struggles did you have in your journey of being positive aside from just finally coming out?
Well, I think the internalized stigma that I didn't really realize I had. When I was diagnosed, it was sort of one of those things where I went, okay, that's the news. I can't change the past, so what do we do? And I was, I'm pretty lucky in that sense that my personality was like, okay, what do we do next? How do we get on with this? And that's really how I dealt with it from day one. What I didn't realize that over the course of the 10 years of getting my diagnosis to publicly talking about it was that there was this stigma within me that very much internalized stigma that I would make flippant jokes. So I would say, "Oh, you don't want me? I'm damaged goods," or "Oh, I'm the one. Hello, the one with AIDS." But was doing it in what I genuinely thought was sort of this flippant, silly kind of way. And really, since coming out publicly, the discovery I've had through a lot of therapy, that is continuing and ongoing, is that I was somehow in my subconscious trying to prove the stigma right, and whether that was through making flippant comments like that or engaging in some, pretty out there self-destructive behavior. I've done a lot of real stupid shit, Gracie, and moments where I certainly cringe. And in those moments I thought, I was just partying and having fun. But now, sort of as I step back and I think about it, I think about, wow, I was really doing some kind of harm to myself there, and a lot of that I think was subconsciously trying to prove this stigma right. And that's why part of why we create a Plus Life, and why I constantly talk about HIV stigma in particular, because it is so dangerous and so stupid and so unnecessary. And while we think of it on the surface of, simple things like asking someone if they're clean, or stigma, I'm not going to have sex with you because you're HIV positive, the damage that it does to us as individuals, I think, who are living with HIV is really, is even more frightening. And we don't talk about that much because it gets into mental health and stuff like that. So I hope by me sharing my stories and being as open and transparent as I can, it helps other people go, oh, I recognize that within myself too.
Well, that's the beauty and the power of self-forgiveness, because I too dealt with internal shame. That was majority of my struggle.
And it's ongoing, right? It's not like you come out and say, "Oh, I'm HIV positive," and it's gone. It's an ongoing work. We are all works in progress when it comes to that.
It's a never-ending journey, and you done turned a positive into a plus with creating Plus Life. How rewarding has that been for you?
It's been really rewarding for me. I'm very lucky that I've had a career that has lasted as long as it has, and it ebbs and flows, and it has its high moments and its low moments. But I have to tell you that when I get into the studio, or when I sit down to do an interview for Plus Life, I can be having a really, really bad day, or I can just be really tired, or I can just be really over it, a bit cranky. And I sit down, and in the seconds even leading into an interview where we're doing something for Plus Life, I might be a bit grumpy. And 9 times out of 10 will come out of the interview and I'm like a totally different person. So being able to connect and chat with other people about their stories and talk about some really substantial things is fantastic. And knowing that, our audience is still small, but it's growing, and that people are hearing it and seeing it and connecting with it.
Have there been any comments that have really stood out to you that touched you the most from around the globe?
I think initially when I got a lot of direct messages when I came out, 3 years ago, just gone 3 years, there was a lot of people who would reach out and say, I've been living in the closet and in the dark with my HIV for so long. No one ever knew. There was one guy in particular, an older gentleman, who his partner had died. And he was totally alone. And I think he was in his 60s or 70s. And he said he saw my stuff and he finally felt the courage to reach out to family members and tell them the truth and what a difference that had made. So it's things like that. It's things like knowing that there was somebody, in Iran who was hiding literally in a closet, and reading our posts on their social media, and just that alone gave them hope. Let them feel a little bit of, I call it stepping into the sunshine and feeling the warmth of life versus being cold and alone in the shadows, which I think is something, it's how I felt. And if that meant that guy in a closet in Iran felt a little bit of warmth by reading something or seeing something that he felt a connection with, then we're doing some great stuff. And it's those kind of comments that are wonderful. It's tough for me, Gracie, because people have been very nice and go, sort of make these hero comments, and I don't ever feel like that, and it's very complimentary. But as I just said, I've done plenty of stupid stuff in my life, and I probably will do plenty of stupid things again in my life. No one's perfect, but I think as you pointed out, by living your truth, boy, what a difference it makes.
It really does make a difference, and I understand that it's not for everyone to come out and share with the world, but I do feel that we need that comfort and that safety to have that within our circle of just feeling loved and supported and seen. Carl, thank you so much for your bravery, for your boldness. Just thank you for being here with us today. You've been a light and a guide for so many, including myself. Thank you because this opportunity has led me to be here with Transcend. So I'm very grateful for you and this platform and also Plus Life Media. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed our crossover today. If you would like to watch this episode or more stories like these, please check out our website at pluslifemedia.com and remember to follow us at Plus Life. Until then, be free, be forgiving, and F stigma.